to be a father. One of the best things I had to be a father. And what was greater than that, like Chris said earlier, the disciples asked Jesus, they said, teach us how to pray. We want to know how to communicate with our Father, with God who is in heaven, our Jehovah Jireh, our El Shaddai. And so Jesus, the first thing he said was, he could have said all kind of stuff. He said, no, I need you to identify him as who he is. And he said, pray like this, our Father. Yeah. Right? So that means when we recognize him as our Father, sometimes in our earthly capability as Father, sometimes we miss the mark. Oh, my man should say amen right there. Sometimes we're not there where we're supposed to be. Sometimes we don't always do it. Sometimes we just get tired. But he said, I need you to identify your Father in heaven, because he'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. He'll always be there. And we had a great need. We had a great need. We were all dying on our way to a burning hell. But he saw me. He said, you know what I'll do? I love you enough that I'll send my only son. Yes. I'll send my son, my child. I'll send your brother. I created you, and I saw so much of you. I put my hands on you and formed you out of the dust, but I need something better. So I'll send my son to die on the cross for you. And that's why we come to church, and that's why we worship, and that's why we pray. That's the whole reason we're here today. Because you know, on Mother's Day, we pack out the church. Father's Day, they home barbecuing right now, right? But we got a God that he's our bread of life. He's our air we breathe. He's our everything, all in all. So for God so loved the world that he sent his son and he died. Jesus said on the night he was betrayed, the very people who was going to leave him and abandon him, on the night he was betrayed, he took that bread and he broke it as a symbolism. He broke it and said, this is my body that I laid down for you. Nobody's taking it from me. I laid it down on purpose for you. And he gave it to his disciples and he said, eat it. And in the same manner, he took the cup. And it didn't have one of these little pretty little things on it that none of y'all can open. He took the cup and he blessed it. He said, you see this cup? You see what's in it? It's my blood. And I'm going to pour it out. And although your sins are crimson stained, I'll wash them as white as snow. Oh, the blood of Jesus. He gave it to the disciples and said, this is my blood that I give for you. Drink ye all of it. Now, bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, I just want to say thank you for these people, Lord. I say thank you, Lord, that we honor you, Lord, that we come today, Lord, to honor you. Lord, and not forget what you did, not forget the sacrifice you made on the cross, Lord. We don't take your dying in vain, Lord. We don't take it as something to be taken lightly, Lord. But we come today, Lord, just to say thank you, Lord. Corporately to say thank you, Lord, for sending your son. And doing what we're not capable of doing on our own, Lord. And we have no power to do, and that's dying for our sins, Lord. And not only that, Lord, you opened up a path that we can spend eternal life, that death will never have any bondage over us, Lord. We might die, but death is not going to be ours, Lord. That we can come to heaven, Lord, and just bask in your presence and glory in your presence forever, Lord. So we sing, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, Lord. And we thank you for your blood, Lord. We thank you for being a good Father, Lord. We thank you for everything you've done, and we give you glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. And everybody say amen. Amen. Turn to your neighbor and tell somebody welcome here. Find some fathers around here. And say good morning. Good morning. Come on, move around. Right? Give me my hand. want to start off and I want to honor, first of all, I want to honor my dad, right? I want to honor my dad. I have a great father. He's my superhero. He's my friend. He's my, I find strength in just his presence in my life. So Dad, I honor you today and I honor you this morning. I gotta call somebody out. I got a very special lady here today. Miss Cassandra, embarrassing everybody. Just look over there at her. Embarrassing right now. She is a lady. She came all the way down from Chicago. When I first got out of my mom's house, I got my first apartment. And I moved to Metairie, old country boy in Metairie. I didn't know nothing about Metairie in the city. She mothered me. She was my mother away from my mama up in Metairie, and she helped me through a lot of transition in my life. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Sandra, for coming and visiting me today. And her significant other, I don't know his name, but he look like pretty cool guy me, right? All right, she's from Chicago, Charlotte, she talking about Stephanie. You know what I'm saying? Steph is not R. Kelly. She ain't gonna talk about Chicago now. Okay, here we go. So today you got the Bibles, we got a word because I don't want to keep you guys long. I don't want to keep you long because I know fathers, they want to just get out and they wish they could have slept late today and stuff like that. So I don't have no cameras on. We don't have no stuff on. You know what I'm saying? None of that stuff. So if you got your Bibles, hold them up with me. Let me see your Bibles. Let me see your Bibles. Hold them up with me. He said, word, 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 word. This is the word of God. This is the word of God. And because of it, I prevail. Take your Bibles. You're going to need them. Turn over to Samuel, 1 Samuel, chapter number 4. We're going to start at probably 3. So you go to, now we're going to go to 2. We're going to start off at 2, and I'm going to cover that. I got some of it on the screen, but most of it I don't have. Because I'm going to talk about it today. So I love Father's Day. Father's Day is one of my great gifts because I'm always surprised at what my kids give me, right? So they surprised me this morning. So I was like, when I came up and I saw this, I'm like, perfect. Man, my kids, they got me. Look at that. Any dad would love to have that, right? So they started opening up the presents and gifts. So Joe decided that I needed a knife axe. It was up in the forest. And then a bear attacked me, right? And I need to saw my leg off or something like that. I'm prepared with that. So I thought that was pretty good. And so this was pretty picked out that. So I was like, okay, that's awesome, y'all. Thank you for the knife axe, Joe. Right? That's awesome. So he said, Dad, I also took care of you. I bought you some knee pads. I'm like, I don't know, but maybe if I ever decide to do flooring, I have these. So and then he said, I went one step further, Dad. I bought you one of these. I said, well, what is this? He said, when we go fishing, it's a live well fish catcher. Now, that would be cool in the game with a live well fish catcher. But you remember the check that I gave in church? I ain't got no boat. So then they got me some good flashlight, right there. So I thought that was pretty good. Earphones, right? Every man needs his own pair of earphones. So, and I said, okay, that's good. And then Joe got me a text but Andrew. Oh my God. Andrew never ceased to amaze me. Not one time. He said, Dad, this is what I got you. When you look, I look the same way. I'm like, well, what you got that for, right? He said, it's water balloons, Daddy. And in case we do a water balloon fight today, you can destroy us with the water balloons. I'm like, what I always wanted, right? Because I get to get all that stuff, and then I can always re-gift it to my dad. You never know when he might be in the woods and he might see a bear and he can have a knife axe, right? So it's always a great thing. So Father's Day, I love getting gifts and I love this. But one of the greatest things about being a father, thank you, Henry. One of the greatest things about being a father is that I get to see them and I get to grow and mold them and see, I never understood, when you pray the Lord's Prayer, it means something to you. But when it says the words, our Father, right, it means something greater when you're actually a father and you can see your kids and you see your personality in them and you see your ways in them, you see different extremes, and I love it. But so many people never really experience the greatness of fatherhood, and sometimes it bothers me because I can't see how you can walk away, but I think a lot of people walk away from it. And I want to tell my men here today, a lot of people don't really parent the way that they should, or father the way that they should. Because one thing you got to learn about a father is like a foundation of a house. Amen. A father is like a foundation of a house. You never walk up to a house or the mall or this building and say, boy, look at the foundation on that thing. Woo, it looks good, right? The foundation, when you walk in, everybody walks on top of the foundation. And matter of fact, they even cover up the foundation. They put something nicer on the foundation. They put flooring on top of it. They don't put flooring on top of it. They stain it. They put something else down. And they cover up this. So being a father was never meant. See, one thing I can't stand is when a man comes to tell me, he come to the wrong person, he come to me and say, I'm a good dad. I take care of my kids, pay my child support. Fool, you're supposed to do that. You don't get no attaboys. I don't get no attaboys for going home in the evening and hugging my kids. I get no attaboys for sitting at the games all day, hot and all this. I get no attaboys for giving my whole check. You pay child support and you complaining? I don't keep none of mine, brother. If I got half of it, I'll be cool. You know, I'll be like, woo, praise the Lord. You know, I don't get none of mine, so I have no sympathy for you. But being a father is like a foundation, and if the foundation is broken, the house cannot stand. The house is worthless. It is worthless without a foundation. And then you got all the people that's going to get online today, and y'all know it's coming in your own Facebook, and be like, I'm mama and daddy. No. You're not mama and daddy. Because mama, you can tell by how the days look, right? Mother's Day? Woo. Our bank account lost a grand total of maybe $40 on all my illustrious right? I'm sorry. Okay, and I went to get asked the president, and I appreciate my boss again. I love it. She asked me what I wanted, right? And I really, if I wanted something, I go, I don't want that, right? My want is to see them happy, right? That's I get that all here, Father's Day, all here, just to see them happy, right? So, but sometimes I get my feelings. Like this morning, right? Because when I went to pick Ashley to give out, we went to Sephora, and them kids was in there, and they're picking the highest stuff. I'm like, what a great value section is. Y'all have a clearance deal? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they just go, mama need this, and don't take breaches. Like, she be some eyelash stuff, and she be some, but that's cool in the game, because why? I understand my role. My role is this. You think about it. You never miss the foundation till it's gone. So that's when we get our appreciation. Nobody ever miss what a father does. Sometimes can we see what mama do? We can see what mama do. We can see her cook. We can see her clean. We can see her love and nurture. And we can see all that stuff. But we can't, them kids don't know what happens when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and leave their house. All they know is daddy going to work and daddy coming home and let's play when he gets home. Right? That's all they know. But they don't know how much stuff, because men, one thing about men, and I'm going to get to my sermon, one thing about men is men tend to always be competing. One thing, women, you might not know that about men, but that's why the Bible says, wives, respect your husband, and husbands, love your wife, because respect means something to men. And one thing about respect is earned. Yeah. Right? Can I get an amen there? Respect is earned. Turn it down a little bit. I don't know what's going on. Right? Respect is earned. So every day when we get up, when we go on the job, when we make it into our job, we're constantly having to prove ourselves and prove our worth and earn respect. And then some men, I'm not going to say me because Ashley loves it, she gives me a big old kiss every time I get home. But some men have to leave that and compete on their job for respect and come home, and it's not right for them to have to earn it at their house. And I want to speak up all my stepdads. If you have a stepdad and he's coming there on purpose, he don't have to come there, but he come there anyway. Respect that man, right? Love that man. Love what he do, right? Because he don't have to do it, because he got to fight everywhere, and then I shouldn't have to come home and fight. But today I'm not talking about that. This is good. That just was the introduction. So you got your Bible. So today I'm going to talk about, and I'm not going to hold you long because I know y'all fathers got to get out here and go do something. Right? Like barbecue or something like that. So I'm going to somebody else. So some other lady barbecuing today. So we're going to go to 1 Samuel chapter number 4. And when you have it, you can, well, no, you go over to chapter number 2. But I'm going to read it off the screen. So a boy named Ichabod. 1 Samuel chapter 4, verse 21. It says, she named the boy Ichabod, saying, the glory has departed from Israel because of the capture of the ark of God and the death of her father-in-law and her husband. She said, the glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured. Now, Pastor, what a sad commentary to start Father's Day off with. What a sad commentary to, you started Mother's Day hurrahing and everything was great. How you going to start our day off, Father's Day, off with such a sad commentary? She named the boy Ichabod because the glory, now Ichabod meant the glory has gone. And it was because the reason why she named her boy, the reason why she didn't have a husband there to name that boy, to help her give guidance to that boy, is because the husband and the father-in-law had died. So 3 generations of men, right? We have 3 generations of men. We have a grandfather, we have a son, and we have a grandson who ends up with the name Ichabod, means the glory is gone, or no glory. That's what his name means, no glory. So let's make Ichabod human. And as Ichabod grows up, he has no father because his father has died. And his mom has named him no glory. So when he go in the room, if you look at the culture of the day, your name, that's why we say things like, pray, hallowed be thy name when we pray, because names meant something important. And so she's named the boy no glory. So when he walks in the room, everybody say, people might have cool names like, oh yeah, that's Hercules, or that's the strong man, or over here, that's the great man. And then they say, what's your name? It means no glory, right? So that means he's sad and he's depressed. And that the name gave the personality of who you were. And so she named him Ichabod. So he lived his whole life being named off a temporary situation because the ark had been captured at that point. It's true what she's saying. They decided to take the ark of God out to fight a battle. They said, we're going to take the ark of God. Well, God never told them to take the ark of God, but they took it anyway, and the ark got captured, and the ark left. And so she named her boy because the ark had been captured. But one chapter, if you read chapter 5, they got the ark back in chapter 6. But she named her son off of a temporary situation. Let me put a peg right there for everybody that's in here. Never name your situation in your life about what's going on now. Because there's always tomorrow. Sometimes we name our future, I ain't going to make it out of this. I ain't going to ever make it through. No. There's always next week. Just keep on living. Better times are coming. You made it to here. You made it through here. And guess what? Better days are coming, right? And we give up so many times because we name defeat over our situation, right? When it comes down to our marriages, we name defeat. When it's our health, we name defeat. When our finances, we name defeat. And sometimes even with our church, we name defeat. But guess what? It's going to get better. Just keep on living, right? So she named her situation and she had no father there. So how do we get to this situation? What does this have to do with fathers? It's because the men, they stopped. They dropped the ball on being who God called them to be. And that's the foundation of their family. Now flip over. This story is about a man named Eli. Chapter number 2. We're going to start at chapter number 2. Now Eli, what he was, if you start reading that 1 Samuel chapter 1, it's a great story. Everybody preaching it for Mother's Day. It's a good story. Hannah didn't have no babies. She wanted to have a baby. Her rival Banana kept talking about it and talking to her mother, girl, you ain't got no children. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You can't even have your husband, no kids. And so every time she went to church, she would bow down and she would start praying, saying, Lord, I really want some children. And Lord, I ask that you just bless me with a child, Lord. But the Bible said God had closed up her womb. God closed up the womb. And so one day she was in there praying and she wasn't making any words and she just was mouthing. And Eli was the priest at the time. He was the preacher, Eli. That's going to be very important here. Eli was the priest. And so Eli saw her praying and he goes over to her and said, girl, you drunk. Now, seriously, he thought she was drunk. She thought she was drinking. And he said, put away your alcohol. She said, no, I'm not. I don't have any alcohol. I don't have any of that stuff. I just been praying to the Lord for a son because I really want a son to take away my shame. And so he says to her, he said, well, may the Lord grant you what you need. When she was praying, she was actually saying, Lord, if you bless me with a son, I'll give him right back to you, God. He'll do your will, Lord. If you just give me a son, I'll give him back to you all his days. And guess what happens? She goes home, her husband makes love to her, and guess what? Boop, she's pregnant. Hannah's pregnant, so she has to make a decision now. She had her first child, the only child she has. Is she going to honor God, or is she just going to just say, okay, God, you blessed me, but I just was planning on the whole giving my son back. It's the only one I got. She didn't do that. She brought her son back to church. She brought him back to the priest, and she said, you know what? I weaned him, and now I'm going to put him here, and he's going to live with you forever, right? He's going to live, and he's going to be, and that's a great story. And all mothers here, you should be taking all your kids and make sure you get them at church and say, Lord, you give me these children, I'm going to give them right back to you. So she gave her son to Eli. Now, this is what happened with Eli. Eli, if you got your Bibles, go over to chapter number 2, verse number 12. So Eli was the priest. You with me? 2:12? It says, Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Now it was the practice of the priest that whenever any people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come with a 3-pound fork in his hands while the meat was being boiled and plunge it into the fork into the pot, the pan or kettle or cauldron or the pot. Whenever the fork was brought up, the priest would take for himself. This was how they treated all the Israelites who came to Shiloh. So what happened was Eli's priest sons was a bunch of scoundrels. They were the priest. So the dad, Eli, was a priest. Listen to this, I don't want to lose it. Eli was a priest. His sons were priests. However, he had some sons, but he was not a father to them, right? So he was a priest. So just because, that tells me right now, just because you come to church and read your Bible and know the Lord does not necessarily mean your child by the process of osmosis will automatically love Jesus, automatically come. There got to be some training and some teaching, because Eli was a man of God. He was able to speak and tell this woman, your son, guess what? God is going to grant you this child. He had power. He was moving in God's presence and in his spirit. However, he was not raising his son. And because he did not raise his sons, they turned up to these scoundrels. What they would do was, this is what the priest would do. What Eli's sons would do. Their name was Hophni and Phinehas. Aren't you glad your mama didn't name you Hophni or Phinehas? But anyway, they were priests. So what they would do is they would come up, and when people would go to church, right? And nothing new under the sun. Let me hook you up right now, because you're finna say, that sounds like the churches today, right? Here we go. When people would come with their sacrifice, they would go around, and before they would sacrifice their animal, the priest would sacrifice it, and what they had to boil it, they had to cook it. And what would happen is a portion would be for God, a portion would be for the priest, and a portion would be for the person who sacrifices to eat in the presence of God. But what the priest was doing is, before God's issue was done, how many finish they'll do? They'll go get the meat from the pot. The Bible says that the people complained because they did it before. They said, wait, I'll give it to you, let the fat be burnt off, because the fat portion was the best part of the meat. And so the best part they would give to God, right? They said, well, let God get his issue first. He said, no, I don't want to do that. We want it now. And if you don't give it to me, if you keep reading, they said, we're going to take it by force. We're going to take it by force. The reason why they want to do that is not even for they can have their own barbecue at the house. It was because they wanted to get the meat before it was cooked, because they could sell it and pocket the money, right? It was for economic gain. So they would take the meat and say, no, let me honor God. And because they did this, people did not even want to come to church. And so Eli, if you skip down, I'm at verse number 2, go down to verse number 22. It says, so all this time, so go down to verse number 22. It says, now Eli, their father, was very old. He heard about, everybody was telling him of the things, everything his sons were doing to all Israel, and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance of the tent of meeting. So he said to them, so now these boys not only, so now they're taking the money from the Lord, now they're messing with the women, right? Money and women, the two things that will bring any great pastor down really quick. Well, I don't mean like, not that the women bad, but that the women good, but he was a priest. And he shouldn't have been sleeping with the women, especially at the door of the church. Now you're a wild boy, how bad you gotta be, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, here we go, so we're not talking about that. So Eli heard about what his sons were doing, how they were sleeping at these women. So my sons, the report I heard here spreading amongst the people is not good. If anyone sins against another, God may meditate for the offender. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for him? His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it was the Lord's will to put them to death. So now the father came to him, and you may say, hey, Pastor, well, at least Eli, the boy who was doing that, he wasn't under their household. He didn't have to, they get to do what they want to do. They grown men. They can handle their business. And some of y'all, just like that, well, hey, I raised them, and this, and you say you just let your sons go. But no, it's still your responsibility. You are that son's father and that child's father till death. Do your part. Can I get a better amen? Amen? So Eli brought these people here, instead of telling them, saying, hey, he rebuked them and said, you shouldn't do such thing. But what he was supposed to do, he was really supposed to spoil. The Bible says, you spell a rod? Spoil a child, but instead he spoiled his children. He said, man, maybe y'all shouldn't do anything, when he had the power as the head priest. Eli was the head priest of his house, to set him down and say, no, you're not going to dishonor God. You're not going to make a mockery of the house of God. You got to get up out of here, even though you're my boys. But instead of doing that, he knew his boys was going to be able to be taken care of, because they made their money off the church. And instead of telling them right from wrong and forcing them and having something a little bit more powerful, like me, I'll drop kick Joy Andrew real quick, right? Because I know they're going to be bigger than me. Right? And I got to bend them right now, because when they get older, they're not so pliable, right? So he could have came in with force, but you can tell from a kid, Eli wasn't not fathering these boys. Why? Man, let me tell you, the first thing I want to tell you is, if you decide to put any job, and I said that, any job, before being a father, the result you will get is an out-of-control son. If you put your job before, and Eli had a good job. Eli was a priest. Let me say it better. Eli was a pastor. Now, nothing comes before God. In my life, not one thing comes before the Lord. Not my wife, not my money, not my life. He's number one. However, the call of the job to be a pastor does not trump my family. Because you cannot sacrifice your family on the altar of ministry and expect them to still love Jesus the way you do. So if I can't sacrifice my family on the altar of ministry, men, you can't sacrifice yourself you can't sacrifice your children on the altar of your bad habits. Maybe it's because you're drinking a little bit more than you should. Maybe you can't sacrifice them on the altar of work, and I mean working too much or working too little. Could I get an amen right there? Working too much and always busy and always focused over here, always building and always growing, and you neglect them there at home, and you got a mother there that's got to raise it. She got to wear two hats at home because you're too busy, and I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care what you're doing. Your main focus, I got to get home to my family, right? I remember for us, I can tell you about 2 weeks ago, we was all out, 9 o'clock at night. Ashton had them out there. We was hauling stuff into this rental property on Prevailing. I felt so good. They was over there yesterday cleaning toilets and all that stuff. Why? Because I'm not going to sacrifice them. And Ashley is with me on that one. We're not going to sacrifice them. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And what profit is a man to gain the whole world and his family go to hell right behind him? Because everything we're trying to build, I got to leave it into their hands. So why not make sure when I start pouring water in their cup that they can hold it? Eli decided and then the crazy part about the matter is he was a better father to Samuel than he was to his own boys. He was a better, because why? Because Samuel was connected to the ministry. Samuel was connected to the thing that he was going after, and he wouldn't even father his own boy. And they kept on doing the crazy part. But what I love so much about God is that he always gives us time to get it together. Amen. So maybe you may be here and you may say, Pastor, well, my boy old, or my girl old, my children too old, and I don't know. Or maybe you may be here and say, man, I can't go back and right the wrong. Or maybe your children are young, and you can say, you know what, I can get it together right now, and I can do better right now. Because God is going to send a prophet. God sent the prophet to Eli early in the chapter. And the prophet went to Eli and said, dude. I mean, he just said, dude. But you know what I mean. He said, dude, your boys are messing up. And everybody's hearing around everybody. People don't even want to go to church because your boys, they sleep with their wives and they steal all the money. You got to get them right. You got to do something about that. You got to get it together. And so Eli heard what he said. Even after the rebuke, Eli heard what he said, but he did nothing about it. Verse number 3. If you look at 2, if you read through 2, right? We're not going to read it, but if you read through 2, a prophet comes and he tells Eli what he's doing wrong. And there's a gap. So that means God gave him room to repent. It's never too late to get it right. It's never too late to get it right. You can always start. Because it's better to start bad and finish well than to start good and finish bad. Can I get an amen? So then God calls, he starts to talk to Samuel. He starts to talk to Samuel. And on chapter number 3 comes down. So Samuel is getting a little old because you know Eli, right? Hopped in Phineas, Samuel, Hannah's boy. Hannah gives him to the church. Samuel is laying in the bed one night. God starts to talk to him. God calls his name, Samuel. So Samuel gets up, runs to Eli's room. What you say? Eli, he said, man, I ain't call you. Go back to bed. So he said, okay. He goes back to bed. Then Samuel's laying in his bed, and he hears the voice call him again. Samuel. He runs back in the room to Eli. Eli says, not me calling you. Go back and lay down, boy. It's getting late. I've got to wake up early in the morning. So he goes back and lay down. Samuel hears the voice again. Samuel. He gets up. And Eli finally recognizes that God is trying to talk to him. So Eli says, when you hear the voice call you the next time, I need you to say, speak, for your servant is listening. You remember what the tab right there? You need to learn the voice of God. And when you know it's the voice of God, your only reply should not be, Lord, I already know to do it. No, it should be, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And out of all the things God could have said, thank you, Brother D. Out of all the things that God, you would think that God would be giving little Samuel these deep, profound revelations, right? You know, just some good stuff. But God starts to have a conversation with Samuel. And he starts to say, you see Eli? And you see his boys, how evil they are? I'm going to kill all of them. Going to die. I'm going to kill all of them. What a waste of God's voice. When God has to start talking to a boy, to tell a father, he needs to do what he's supposed to do, or he's going to kill him. Samuel gets up in the morning, he goes to Eli, and he says, Eli, Samuel says, Eli talks to Samuel and says, Samuel, what did God tell you? Samuel was afraid. The Bible didn't say he didn't want to tell him. And so he said, tell me what the Lord says. Tell me everything he says. I can handle it. Because I think Eli knew what God wanted to tell him. He said, well, God's going to kill you and your sons. Eli said, let it be done the way God wants it to be done. So here we go, fast forward. So Eli ends up, so Israel has a battle to go to. They take the Ark of God and they go out and they lose the Ark of God. Fast forward to Ichabod, a boy named Ichabod, and calling, they Hophni, Phineas, and Eli dies all on the same day. So she names her son Ichabod. So let's keep going because I don't want to stop right there. But shame on Samuel. This is what happens. If you go and read chapter number 8 of that book of 1 Samuel, Samuel becomes the priest. He becomes the head in charge. He becomes the big dog. And he grew up seeing Eli and the sons being so corrupt. And then we get to chapter 7 and chapter 8, and Samuel has the same problem. Samuel did not father his own boys. So Israel comes to Samuel and said, make us a king. You're getting old, Samuel. We want a king. He said, I'm sure he said, why do you want a king? I'm not a good judge for you. I'm not a good enough for you. And they said, no, your boys. We don't want you to be in charge of us anymore because your boys are not walking in the same path that you walk on. He made the exact same mistake that he saw Eli. So you may be saying, well, Pastor, if you tell me all this bad stuff about Eli's father, tell me what I'm supposed to do, right? You want some direction on what it's supposed to, I got a good one for you. I started searching the Bible like, okay, who got it right? Who did it right, Lord? That's what I want to know. I want to know who did it right. I want to know, I know you did it right. I'm going to get to God in the way he wants us to follow. But show me a man who got it right. And he led me to this, Genesis chapter 1, Abraham. He led me to Abraham, and I started reading, and I started just reading and studying about Abraham, and I came to this verse in Genesis 18:18. He says this, he says, Abraham surely will become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations on earth will be blessed through him. So he said, I'm going to make him a great and powerful nation. That's who he's going to be, for I have chosen him. Why did God choose Abraham? Out of all the people in all the world, he could have chose to bless and make a great and powerful nation. Out of all the people who he could have said, you know what, I'm going to put my name, he picked Abraham, and this is why he chose him. It's in red. So I'm going to bless him because I know it's in his heart, and I know what he's going to do so that he will direct his children and his household. Remember I talked about the foundation? The foundation is the man, right? And let me say this, because I know we live in a culture right now, right, where we have blended families, right? We have blended families. We have families who the couple didn't work out, everything didn't work out, and it's just, he went his separate way and she went her separate way, and all this good and cool, right? And I'm not telling nobody here that you need to go back and get in bad situations and y'all fussing and fighting and shoe flexing each other, choke slamming and all this stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, even if you're apart from your child, you still can be there and be that foundation and that guidance that they need to be a man. He chose Abraham to make him a great nation because he knew he was just going to direct his son. He didn't say live in the same house with his son, although that's the best way God wants it to be, but it might not be that way every time. He didn't want you to just do all this other stuff. He said, I need you to direct them children to me. If you want to be blessed, man, start directing the children. If you want to have everything God wants you to have, start being the head of your household. Start leading your son. Say, no, it's not going to do this. Stop letting the women just be in control and doing everything. Although that's cool, women want to be there. But I tell you one thing, it look good when you got a man that step up and say, I'm going to take the lead in raising these kids. I got this, right? If you want to get out paying the child support, I guarantee you, you're there all the time, you're doing everything you got to do. I guarantee you that she'll start to respect you more. She'll get up off your back because really she don't want your money. She wants you to be in your child's life. And so many men get confused. Well, she want me. Nah, she don't want you, man. She just wants you to love that boy. She just wants, because a woman can never raise a man. It's impossible. Manhood has to be, and I'm talking about manhood. Manhood, this is one thing about manhood. Manhood has to be given from another man. Let me tell you how that makes sense. I'm 37 years old. I got a good job. I can buy anything basically I want. All that stuff. You know what still makes me feel good to this day? When I'm doing something and my daddy walk up once and quarters, he's like, good job. Oh, Daddy, really? Yeah. I didn't do that. I'm telling you, 2 weeks ago, true story, that's my dad, right? 2 weeks ago, I had to build a fence. My daddy, the dude came to my house, and he was like, you're going to cost $1,100 to fix that fence. So my daddy was just leaving. He had stopped by the house. And then the dude left. I ran, called my dad and said, hey, Dad, you mind coming help me fix that fence? You know what I'm saying? That dude want to charge me $1,100. My daddy said, boy, I ain't got time for that. So I went back there, looked at my poor fence. Daddy walked back around the corner. Well, I guess we'll get it, John. Maybe I'm going to do it. So I was like, okay, cool. My daddy's going to help me save some money. I'm cool in the game with that, right? That's awesome, right? So I got up the Saturday, and I was going to do it myself. I was going to call my dad, and I said, you know what? And I called Lynch to get some help. Lynch don't know how to build that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to build that myself. So I got out there, and I started cutting and sawing, and I put it back together. Ashley was there. She handed me the screwdriver and said, we built the fence. The first thing I did, I'm a grown man. sandwich. But the dog ain't getting out. Right? I saved $1,100. Why? Because man, that's why God said, I'm gonna skip this why. Because I'm gonna tell you why. If Jesus needed his father, if Jesus needed his dad, what you think about you? What you think about you, right? There's one mama, I love my check out my mama's shirt, right? My beauty shirt. And y'all are not talking about my shirt. I had to check it. Don't talk about my mama. She got me this shirt, right? But anyway, if Jesus needed his father, right? He needed his father to give him purpose in life. John 5:19 said, Jesus gave them this answer. Very true that I tell you. Listen to what Jesus said, right? God in the flesh, perfect man, walk on water. He said this, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son does also. Every man in here, that should have sent chills up your spine. You can't allow your children to get older and start complaining about the decisions they make and what they're doing. Because did it say mother? It didn't say mother. It says, Jesus said the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees his daddy doing. So that means your son is following, your fathers are following in your footsteps. You're giving them the blueprint on how to be a man, on how to be treated as a woman. And if she brings home some bum dude, it's because you was a bum dad. I said, quit the church. You know what I said, why? Because if Jesus did, he only got to earth and did what he saw his father doing. Jesus started raising people from the dead. Why? Read the Old Testament. God was raising people from the dead. Jesus started loving poor people. Why? God said he's always on the side of the poor and oppressed. Jesus started healing and doing all this stuff. Guess why? Because he saw his dad. He said, I can't do nothing unless I see my father do it. So man, you need to get it together. If you're not coming to church, if you're not reading the Bible, if your language is out of bounds, don't get mad at your son for cursing, your wife cursing, when you've been cursing. Don't get mad at him for treating women disrespectful when you've been talking to his mama any kind of way. I don't care what she do. He's doing exactly what he sees you doing. Period. Right? Sons and daughters, they rely on their fathers to give them purpose. They rely on their fathers to give them power. When Jesus was about to go to the cross, when he was about to go to the cross, Jesus went up on the mountain of transfiguration, and he was up there. The Bible said the sky opened up. He said everybody clothes was white as snow. Abraham and Elijah was standing up there. Moses and Elijah were standing up there. And God spoke from heaven. He said, this is my boy. Right? This is what they said. This is my son. So if you got a problem with my son, you got a problem with me. If you want to fight Joe, guess what? Daddy come in green shirt and all. Leave my Bible at home. Right? Because why? You know why? That's my boy. I said Joe down when he go to school. I said, Joe, what's your name? He said, Tevin. I said, what's my name? He said, Tevin. I said, Joe, what's your name? He said, Tevin. I said, what's my name? He said, Tevin. I said, so you wearing my name, you better go represent it well. It's my boy. You go out there? I said, Andrew, what's your name? Yeah. He said, Andrew. I said, good. Andrew more like reading Joe. So he said, this is my son, whom I have chosen, and I give authority. Listen to him. I want you to listen to this, my boy. Listen to him. I remember one day I was on my daddy's property, and a dude pulled up, he saw my truck back there. He gonna pull up and ask me what I'm doing back here. What you doing back here? He said, well, who you are? No, who you are? This is my daddy's property. Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were. Well, you better get your mind right? Because why? Because when I walk everything for my daddy, he might not know it yet. Same principle, man. No, I'm saying small, guess what? Them boys gonna be fighting over everything, right? When you know, that's what I'm saying. Guess what? We as men, as fathers, your son draws his power from you. So if you're a weak man, and when I mean weak man, I don't mean can't lift weights. I mean if you're a man that's a coward, and decide not to be there for him. I said if you're a man that's a coward and don't want to take care of him and provide for his finances. The Bible says if a man don't take care of his own house, he's worse than an infidel. That's what the Bible says. I'm saying if you're a coward, even if you're there, but you're struggling with it, you got your little addictions and you're watching stuff on your phone you're supposed to be watching. And you're just not being there and you're a coward. Guess what? Your son going to draw off of that amount of power. And then if you got a dad, you're a child here, and you got a good dad, you need to honor him again. You need to honor him because guess what? You do all of them. And even one of the things that broke my heart, I remember 4 years ago, I was riding to church. And I used to pick up these boys from church. I used to pick them up from church and bring them here because, you know, we were trying to get everybody in the seat we could. I would pick all of them up, right? And I was picking them up, it was Father's Day. And he just was quiet. He was quiet in the car. And I said, man, what's wrong? He was right. I said, did you call your dad and wish him happy Father's Day? He said, no. I said, well, why? He said, because he ain't never been a father to me. And it broke my heart. I broke my heart. He was right. He said, man, I look up to you as a father more than I look up to my own father. And I was like, I ain't got no child support, man. I just said, see how we draw y'all in the here we go. No, he said, and I said, man, that's cool. But I said, he's always going to be your dad. He said, but he's never been there for me. And that was a sad commentary. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. And you know how many men going around the same